The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, commonly known as the Mormon Church, is one of the world's biggest hedge funds, involved in shady business deals and opaque corporate practices in 2019.
In 2019, he revealed the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints had a $100 billion investment fund. Now, the whistleblower in that case wants the U.S. Senate to do something about it.
In this 90-page memo published by the news site Religion Unplugged, David A. Nielsen asked the U.S. Senate Finance Committee for oversight. That presumably would mean a Senate investigation or hearing. Nielsen used to work for Ensign Peak Advisors, an investment arm for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Like his 2019 complaint to the IRS, Nielsen's latest filing accuses the church of using its nonprofit status to avoid paying taxes. There's also a new allegation that Ensign Peak falsely denied having foreign investments.
So, as a substantive matter, my guess is the publicity he gets for this is the extent of where this will go.
Sam Brunson is a law professor at Loyola University and author of the book, God and the IRS.
They certainly can send it to the Senate Finance Committee. If the Senate Finance Committee wants to, they can open it and read it. That's within the discretion of the Finance Committee. But the Finance Committee is under no obligation to have anything to do with this.
Nielsen's memo also gives himself credit for Ensign Peak becoming more transparent, including making more robust filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Church spokesman Doug Anderson said a statement to Fox 13, reading in part, "We are always willing to work with government regulators to resolve concerns and are committed to full compliance." Neither of Utah's senators are on the Finance Committee, but Senators Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada and John Barrasso of Wyoming and Mike Crapo of Idaho are. We reached out to them and did not receive a response. We also reached out to Nielsen, and his attorneys have not received a comment.
Now, Nate, whatever became of the 2019 complaint?
We don't know. Brunson said that the only way we would know if it became a conflict that wound up in court.
I guess we'll have to see. You know, even if the Senate did get involved, what could they do?
Good question. I mean, Congress could always pass a law if they found some problem here that needed to be addressed, or they could lean on the IRS to, better enforce something they weren't enforcing. But Brunson sees no scenario where the church loses its tax-exempt status, and it's unlikely Ensign Peak Advisors would lose its tax-exempt status in all this.
By deceiving people last month, the Securities and Exchange Commission, an organization normally tasked with stopping and center training and stock manipulation, fined the Mormon Church $5 million for failure to report stock holdings that they had intentionally spread out over 13 different shell companies to avoid disclosing the church's investments. If it sounds ridiculous that a church would be charged for some of the same crimes as the biggest corporate frauds in history, then sit back because it gets a lot worse. Welcome to our channel, where we explore the fascinating world of finances.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and its investment arm will pay a fine totaling $5 million for failing to disclose investment holdings. The Securities and Exchange Commission announced the settlement today.
SEC accused the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and its leaders of spending years hiding investments from the public. That includes stocks purchased with tithing.
It's difficult to defend the church's conduct here, that they are not above the eyes of the law.
Jeff Schwartz teaches securities law at the University of Utah. He can't find another example of investors hiding portfolios for 20 plus years.
And it's also important for the general public to understand who owns America's largest companies, who are the biggest shareholders behind Apple, AT&T, Microsoft.
The SEC says the obfuscation began in 1997 when the church created Ensign Peak Advisors to manage $7 billion. By 2018, the last year the church was unforthcoming, the portfolio grew to $32 billion. Ensign Peak had 13 shell companies to keep the assets.
I think many active Mormons probably don't care. So, but why should they care? I suppose because it's always good to know where your money is being spent.
Ryan McKnight used to lead Truth and Transparency, a whistleblowing organization that was the first to write about the shell companies.
Whether it's because we helped push them to it or some other outside force helped push them to it, I think everybody is a winner. Society is a winner. Active Mormons are a winner.
The church released a statement saying, in part, The church's senior leadership received and relied upon legal counsel when it approved the use of external companies to make the filings. Ensign Peak handled the mechanics of the filing process. The church's senior leadership never prepared or filed the specific reports at issue. But the SEC charges make clear the church's first presidency approved hiding the assets. The church was concerned publicity would draw negative consequences.
The church was worried about public perception if it got out that it controlled so much wealth.
Quincy Newell is a religious studies professor and a Mormon historian at Hamilton College.
It was precisely that discomfort that people have with religious organizations having a lot of wealth that led the church and its investment advisors at Ensign Peak to pursue the strategy that ultimately led to these charges by the SEC.
In 2019, a former employee of Ensign Peak Advisors asked the IRS to investigate whether the church misused its tax-exempt status. The IRS has never commented on such an inquiry.
Mega churches are known for their large congregations and massive budgets, but how do they generate their revenue? What do they spend it on? And are their financial practices ethical? The Mormon Church collects 10% of their members' incomes as tax-deductible tithes. That means if a Latter-day Saints church member pays a 30 marginal tax rate on a $100,000 income, they automatically give $10,000 of that to the church every year. $7,000 of that donation would have ended up in their bank account, but $3,000 would have gone to the IRS. That means that tight-fisted Uncle Sam is effectively subsidizing 30% of the church's income. The church is not obligated to report how much it brings in every year, but a joint analysis conducted by Reuters and the University of Tampa sociologist Ryan Cragun estimates that the number is at least $7 billion annually in tithes and other donations made by their member. The Mormon Church does not pay taxes, and it's not because they're charities, so that's an important distinction to make. The money left over is funneled into a trust which is managed by the corporation of the President of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The presiding bishop of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is a powerful holding company that answers to the president, but is a little more hands-on. The bishop's holding company owns several for-profit companies, including Beneficial Financial Group, Bonneville International Corporation with Jones radio stations nationwide, and Utah Property Management Association (SEIT). And the bishop's holding company also owns agricultural reserves and farmlands, real estate holdings, suburban homes, and the land.
Like St. Patrick's Cathedral on Fifth Avenue in New York. If you sell cheap sweaters like they do across the street at Forever 21, you pay taxes. But if you're selling the invisible product of eternal whatever, no taxes. So to recap, Forever 21, taxes. Forever 33, no taxes.
And that's a wrap on our video about the finances of megachurches. We hope you found it informative and thought-provoking. As always, we'd love to hear your thoughts and comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching.